if more information was the answer, we would all be billionaires with six-pack abs. This is a great quote from Derek Shivers, and I heard it, I think, originally on the Tim Ferriss podcast a number of years ago. Always stuck with me. And it reminds me of the time where I was constantly in this grind mode as I was growing my business back in 2022. I just moved to Spain and I was sitting there in front of my computer day in, day out, about 9-10 hours deep. And the process of building out this outreach campaign, right? We were getting things set up. We were deep into a program. There was about a 6-month program. It was cost me about 15 grand to enter into it. And we were getting all of these outreach systems set up. I had 4 VAs. I had 2 appointment setters. We had all of these Instagram accounts and we were sending hundreds and hundreds of messages every single day. And, looking back at that now, it felt so out of alignment. It was horrible to have to do that and to intrude on people's lives that way, because I just believed that was the only way to do it, because that was being taught to me in those beginning stages. Get more volume out there, grind harder, set up more accounts, get more setters, get more VAs. And we did that. And I'll never forget 4 months into that journey, looking at the numbers, looking at the data, seeing all of the different accounts that we had reached out to. And the numbers were embarrassing. Like, I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of DMs and little to no results. If anything, the max that we got to with that system specifically was around 10 to 15k a month euros. So not worth it for the hassle, the energy, and the way of operating that really was within the business. Now, the reason I share this is because I was in this state of constantly looking for more information, more strategies, more tactics, more systems to put in place, when really all I was doing was truly running from the truth of the scenario of the work that needed to be done, which was the internal work. So when I came to this realization, I was looking at those numbers and I was like, how much more volume can I possibly do? I probably could have done the same thing and just ran ads. I probably could have pumped that money into content, but it just would have been the same thing. The energy that I was bringing to the business was just not there. It was just not there at all. And I didn't want to build my business that way. It all felt wrong. It all felt hard. It all felt like a grind. It's not supposed to be, a walk in the park either, but it all felt very off. So that really got me to the point where I was like, okay, I'm at this 6-figure run rate. I'm growing my business and this is good, but I just feel like something's off. And I know that there's kind of internal work that I need to do. So, I was like, okay, I'm going to go down the personal development rabbit hole like many people do. I'm going to watch a bunch of different creators. I'm going to buy some books that I was already reading, but I just was going to go deeper with more intention. And as I started to go deeper and, invest in mentors and actually get proper mentorship in these areas, I started to uncover a lot of different things, started to unpack things. And a lot of it was painful. I was doing things like NLP, like reframing different scenarios from my childhood, working with a coach doing that. I was working on identity shifting, creating a future for myself, creating a vision of what that really looked like, and then getting clear on how can I remove some of these limiting beliefs, reprogram my mind, and do this constantly on a day-to-day basis with audios, with meditation, with breath work, with just reaffirmations to myself, all of these different things. But one of the biggest things that had a profound transformation for me specifically was questioning everything. So I've built out a series of tools that I give to clients when I work with them on a one-to-one or in a group setting that allows them to dissolve any feelings of guilt or fear or shame that I've gathered throughout the years and formulated into this process. And this was the big unlock for me, because I was able to dissolve a lot of the things that were energetically holding me back. Now, the thing is, I didn't believe in this. I didn't believe in any of this, because I believe that if I just do more volume, if I just keep showing up, if I just keep being this person, I keep, taking action, eventually I will just arrive somewhere and it'll be all fine. But that was just an excuse for me to just keep going in this direction and not really address the things that needed to be addressed. But when I started to address those things, yes, it was difficult. Yes, it was challenging, but I finally started to see the results that I wanted in terms of feelings of success and fulfillment and confidence and clarity, but without really doing anything differently. If anything, I did less work. And in that process of dissolving these different things, I was actually able to get really clear on what I wanted to build. And the business I currently had was just not that at all. So I completely changed everything. It was a marketing agency I was running at the time, completely changed it to what I do now. And the business now operates. If we fast forward, 2 years, The business now operates where everything's inbound, right? We're doing like 20 to 30K a month at this current time, and that's continuing to grow. Like there's people coming to me. I was at an event a couple of weeks ago, and I was able to close a lot of different clients within the DMs without needing any sales calls or anything like that. And that was unheard of. If you think of the energy that I was bringing to the agency at that time, it was all push, thousands and thousands of DMs. Get intrusive to people's inboxes, right? I don't like receiving those messages at all. And now it's just completely different. It all comes through YouTube, through Instagram, people reaching out, the content I put out there. It's all very like kind of a pull energy. Now, of course, there's still challenges. We're still growing. There's still things to figure out. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely. But it feels different. And that feeling of it being different didn't necessarily come from me changing anything strategically. It was more just about me aligning energetically to the future that I wanted to create and the person I wanted to become. And everything that was being mirrored back to me was everything I needed to work on. And the things that I was executing on, the strategies that were not working for me, was simply just a mirror of the universe being held up to me saying, hey man, I see what you're doing. I see you're executing, but you're really ignoring all these different things. You need to address these things, because it doesn't matter what you do from here on forward. You are going to need to address these things. You are going to need to go deeper. You're going to need to go on this journey of self-mastery and really do it with intention. Clear these things, because you have a lot of stuff to clear, right? And when I started doing that, I committed to that. Yes, it was challenging, but it brought the biggest growth for myself internally that reflected into my life and business, where now I can wake up and I enjoy life. There's rarely a day where I'm feeling overly stressed, like things are overly complicated, or like things are just wrong in any way, shape, or form. Of course, there's still growth to be done. I'm never going to be finished with the journey. I love it. But it's a radical, radical change. And that's mainly what I help guys do in their business now and in sales. And the big thing I want to share with you with this is that this law of reflection, the mirror principle, as some people call it, is always showing you your best next step. And that best next step is usually the path where there's kind of a little bit of darkness there. And you're not really sure of like what that looks like and where to go. And you kind of need a flashlight to be able to navigate it. But it's the thing that's going to bring you exactly what you want. And that's doing the internal work. Because it's likely that you're already executing on a strategy. You're already implementing something. But for whatever reason, there's resistance there. And not good resistance, because resistance can be good, but resistance where it's like you're spinning your wheels. You're on a hamster wheel. You're kind of just doing the same thing over and over again. And for whatever reason, it's just not clicking. There's something that's out of alignment. There's something that needs to be addressed. And that's what the mirror is showing back to you. And this is why this quote is so profound. Like if we all needed more information in terms of strategies and tactics, we would all be billionaires with six-pack abs. So why aren't we all billionaires with six-pack abs? Well, it's because it's more than that. It's deeper than that. And yeah, of course, the information that you understand from, channels like this or anything when it comes to internal mastery, like that information is helpful to a degree, but it's not necessarily about the information, because I can tell you this and you can just go back to what you were doing before. It's about the integration of it, which is the actual hard part, right? Many people on YouTube talk about shadow work, but how many people actually do shadow work? Many people talk about the mirror principle or the law of reflection like we're talking about right now. But how many people actually look at their limiting beliefs? And how many people actually look at the things they need to change in their lives and actually integrate those things and go on that journey of connecting to a higher source spiritually and understanding their deeper calling in life and understanding and identifying the limiting beliefs, the fears, the doubts, and the emotional charges that are there blocking the actual progress itself? How many people are willing to go inwards and do that work? Well, the people I work with are the people who are willing to do that work. Because I myself are someone who's also on that journey, and I would never talk about anything on this channel that I do not do myself. So, with that being said, everything that you're experiencing right now is exactly what you're meant to experience to be able to show you the biggest lessons and things for you to work on that are going to give you the biggest amounts of growth. And that's a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful idea if you really embrace that. Because everything then becomes a growth opportunity for you. So let's go a little bit deeper into the mirror. So the mirror is the reflection. It's the thing that's showing you everything at every given time. And the mirror will always reflect back to you your mindset, your energetic state of being, and your emotions. Always. So an example of this is, let's say you have clients in your business right now that are not really aligned. You kind of feel a sense of resistance towards serving them, you don't really enjoy working with them, that could signal to you a lack of boundaries in your process. The idea that you need to take on everybody who comes to you rather than clients who are actually going to be clients that you're excited to work on. That could be a boundaries thing because it comes from a scarcity mindset that I have to work with everybody, and instead of actually picking and choosing who I want to work with. That would be an example of how that was playing out. For me, it was also reflecting my fears and my doubts and my insecurities, and this feeling of hustle that I had to show up and I had to like seek validation in my work and my ability to produce, instead of actually going inwards within myself, dissolving and healing those things and understanding that things can be a lot more simple if I allow them to be. And that brought me on a path of completely changing my business in a new direction, which was a higher path of alignment for me. So that was how it was mirroring back to me. So ask yourself right now, like, what is my current reality mirroring back to me at this current moment in time, whether that's in life or business? And what do I need to learn from this? What lesson am I not accepting that I need to learn from this? This could be a certain belief, or it could be a reoccurring pattern that you've been able to identify in your life. When you identify it and you shed light on it, that gives you the opportunity to actually move forward and challenge it. So to go deeper on this, there's a couple of tools that you can use that are simple but yet very profound when it comes to this type of work. And the first one is journaling. So journaling is powerful, not because you just get clarity in your thoughts, that's a big part of it as well, but when you ask the right questions, what you're doing is you're asking your subconscious for the answers. And it's incredible what that will actually spit out to you when you do start to write it out in a journaling format, right? I wouldn't say that there's a perfect structure that you have to follow. It's more about just asking questions and then getting curious with each question. So a couple of questions that you could start with is, what are the current beliefs that are being reflected in my external reality right now that are showing me something about myself? And again, coming back to what is the lesson that I'm refusing to learn? What is the dark parts of myself that I'm maybe not accepting or I'm not seeing right now that are causing sabotage, that are causing me to hit this glass ceiling in my life? How can I identify what that is? Another one would be, what do I truly want in life? Like, am I building something because I feel like it's the best thing for me to build because someone told me to do that? Or is this actually what I want to do? It's a big one to ask because that can take some time and clarity that will come over time. And just remember with this as well, action precedes clarity. So you're not always going to get perfect clarity before you start moving forward and taking action. That doesn't exist necessarily. They both coincide with each other. So as you get these insights through this journaling process, you can take action with those new insights, and then that will give you more clarity as you move forward. Another one to ask that will build on this even more is, why do I want the goals that I've set for myself? Why do I want those goals? Is it a goal that someone told me was a good goal to have? Or is this a goal I actually want to achieve in my life? And if I was to achieve it, then what does my life actually look like? What does this actually bring to me? And is that in alignment with my values, or is it just more money? Like, what does that actually mean? That's a really deep question, and that would give you an understanding as to your why, your purpose, and your drive behind why you're doing what you're doing. So on top of journaling, there's another thing you can do, which is called shadow work. And I have a video on this that you can go deeper on. You can check that out. It'll be linked somewhere around this video or at the end of this video. And shadow work is really addressing the darker parts of our psyche and our personality that may not have been accepted by family, our environment, society as we grew up. It's very interesting that when we're a child, when we operate within a certain way, we say certain things, we do certain things, because our mind is so malleable, we get reinforced to behave in a certain way. So when we do something that other people don't like or society doesn't like, we get punished for that. And when we get punished for that, we don't do it anymore. Like we think that that's a bad thing for us to do, even though it may be fully authentic to us. So for example, aggression is a big one in men. A lot of people say that, if you're any bit aggressive in any way, it's a bad thing. Therefore, men become more submissive and they stop being aggressive from a very young age because they think it's a negative thing that they will not get accepted for. Because naturally, we want to be accepted within the world that we live in, the communities that we're in. We want to be accepted. So when we are programmed in that way to not express those things, then we remove it as part of our behavior. And then we become inauthentic within ourselves and we don't understand how to express aggression in a healthy way, for example. So there's a lot of different ways you can look at this, but these are addressing and shining light on the darker parts of your character, the parts that are unloved, the inner critic that you have, the judgment that you have on yourself. There's a great quote I love on, being more authentic when it comes to integrating the shadow, which is, don't kill the cringe, kill the part of you that cringes. And I heard this quote somewhere, I think it was another video, and it was amazing how that was portrayed. And I really liked that. I wanted to share that with you here as well, because when we shine light on the shadow, it allows us to kill the inner critic that we have and allow us to show up more authentically. So the shadow work and going through that process, which is something I bring clients through as well, is one of the core things of what we do to be able to bring light to these things. But as you go through this journaling process and ask yourself these deeper questions, you'll start to find things that come up for you. Another tool that you can use is visualization. So as you get clear on what you want from life and who you want to become, and you can see that how that would tie into the goals that you have and what you want to achieve, and how the meaning that you have behind those goals actually is something that feels very powerful to you and exciting for you. Visualizing that, training your mind to live in the wish fulfilled and live in that future reality, it's going to help you become more familiar with it. And as you become more familiar with it, you'll be able to tap into these things and it will start to actually show up in your reality much more. It's the power of our mind that really starts to create this, and the more visualization and meditation that you do in that deep state, the more connected and familiar you become with the dream reality you're trying to create. Really, really powerful. It's something I do every single day, and I create these different audio meditations and processes for clients to go through so that they can start to reprogram their mind for success. And if you want access to some of those things as well, check out our free community inside of school. You'll be able to find links for that below. And these different things help you reprogram these parts of your mind. And when you do that consistently, you start to step into a whole new reality, a new energetic state of being, especially when you're in alignment with the different things we're talking about here in terms of journaling and shadow work as well. The fourth and final point I'll mention on this is to work with a mentor, whether that's on a one-to-one basis or in a group setting, or going through some sort of system to be able to dissolve some of these energetic blocks, to be able to get clear on where you're going, and a simple execution strategy to be able to actualize the purpose, vision, and mission that you have on a consistent basis. It doesn't have to be that hard. But working with somebody gives you a very strong mirror back to the things that you need to work on, because sometimes it can be challenging to hold up the mirror to yourself constantly and do this stuff yourself. It can get very, very draining. It's possible, but it's much more accelerated when you work with someone. I've noticed this in my life. This is the reason why I mention it. I would never say to do something that I don't do myself as well. So working with somebody is going to be very powerful, whether that's me or somebody else. If it's me, check out some of the links in the description. But this is going to be one of the most powerful things that you do, because it will be holding you to a higher standard. I always say to my clients as well, the reason why they're able to accelerate so fast is because I hold them to the standard of their higher self, not who they currently are. And that allows them to constantly step into a new standard, a new way of being. And that's just one of the many things that come with working with someone on a one-to-one or in a group format. So really, this is the law of reflection. It's the hidden reflection that is always mirroring back to you the things that you need to work on. And the more that you embrace that, the more that you can really take on a whole new identity, dissolve these things that are blocks and limitations that are within you that can stop you from really being able to progress in the way that's going to be the most profound for you moving forward. So take these, run with them, implement them, keep it simple for yourself, get help where necessary. And if you want to go deeper on things like shadow work or anything else that we've mentioned in this video, check out some of the recommended videos that are on screen right now, and you'll be able to go deeper on that. I will see you in the next video.